You know things are bad when the Young Turks make 100% perfect sense. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks saying that taxation is theft. Now, I never in all my years thought that I'd be right here, right now, today, making a video like this, agreeing with the Young Turks with 100% certainty on any topic, because everything Anna said about the government and the waste and the graft and the foreign interests, everything she said was right on point from my point of view. And I think y'all probably agree. Now, before we get to that, let's back up a little bit. If you don't know who these guys, the Young Turks, are, let me explain. Now, they are alternative media, but they're far, far, far left. I'm a conservative guy. You guys all know that, but they are super. And when I say super leftist, I mean Bernie Sanders supporter, communism, Santa Claus. That's their whole thing. Tax the rich and give to the poor. That's been their whole shtick for a very long time, many, many years, over a decade. But now I think they're seeing the same things that many of us see, how the government's corrupt and taxing and spending is ridiculous because they don't spend it on the right thing. Even if you want the government to tax and spend, why spend almost $500 billion on migrants in about 2 years? But you have homeless veterans, senior citizens working at 80 years old because they cannot afford to live any other way. Now, before I get to what Anna said, I want to play a clip that's kind of going viral of a man in Montana. He is 68 years old and talking about how he works just to pay his property tax on his house that he owns. Well, I guess he is supposed to own it. When you get done paying the mortgage, there shouldn't be any more payments you pay, but he's still basically paying rent to live in his own house, and he's renting from the U.S. government. Renting your own property, imagine that. But let's go ahead and check it out.
My property taxes were $895 a year. Now, my property taxes are approaching $8,000 a year over the last couple of years. And so we're paying $700 a month rent to the state to live in our own house.
Now, a little bit of context. I read up on this. They said he lives in Montana. So imagine living in Montana. They probably don't have very high taxes, but yet he's still having to pay that. Now, go to New York or California or somewhere and then see what they're dealing with. Probably a whole different ballgame, probably much worse, but let's continue.
Problem is that I'm 68 years old and there needs to be a moratorium on what we have to pay. I worked the entire winter up on that mountain for $6,500 just to pay my property taxes because I'm stubborn enough I don't want to dig into my bank account to pay them. It's like, well, you want me to work? Well, I'll work. And I'm 68 years old and I'll work all summer. And most of my time is just to pay my property taxes to live in the house that I bought in 1995. This was a great place and it still is, but the people that made it great can't afford to live here anymore, and our kids can't come here.
That's really, really crazy, really sad, and that kind of exemplifies what Anna said. Now, there's a lot more to what Anna said aside from the clip in the beginning. There's a full, I guess you would say, video from the Young Turks. What we're going to do right now is play more of what she said with full context. But first, a word from our sponsor. Online data brokers sell your information to scammers, hackers, and anyone who wants to use that information against you. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, even your family members' information is all out there. I mean, look at what they found about me. That's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information, and they automatically submit opt-out requests on my behalf. Cleaning up my information not only helps me reduce spam, but it protects me from hackers who may want to access bank accounts, social media accounts, or maybe even the inside of my home. I learned that the hard way back when I got swatted. It's 2019, I'm streaming as normal, and before I know it, I have not one, not two, but 6 cops at my back door, guns drawn. I go to the back, open the door, they say get on the ground, they go throughout the house, they come back very apologetic. I'm sorry, Mr. Logan, we got a false tip that somebody was in here bleeding, tied up, all kind of crazy stuff from an anonymous number. Come to find out, this person probably got my phone number and my address from an online data broker. You may be thinking, hey, ABL, why would I need Aura? I'm not a streamer. I'm not going to get swatted. How would this service protect me? Well, AT&T just revealed that over 73 million customer records, both existing and former, were released to the dark web. Now, AT&T recommends that you use strong passwords and monitor your account activity and consider a credit freeze or a fraud alert from a credit bureau. Well, Aura does all that for me. And the best part, I don't need a bunch of different apps, all because one company cannot keep my data secure. If your data was in the AT&T breach, just download Aura, activate it, and rest easy knowing that your data is secure. I value my privacy and I value yours. Visit aura.com/Anthony Logan through the link in the description to start your free 2-week trial today. All right, so here we have the video from Young Turks in which Anna is going to break down why taxation is theft. As I said from the beginning, everything she said here was right on point. I agree with her 100%. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Democrats have been doing good cop, bad cop on us for the last 50 years. And that's why you're frustrated like this, Anna. Yeah, and that's why you speak for the country.
At some point, the arguments made, look, I'm not libertarian, you guys know that, but the argument of taxation is theft starts to resonate. Because
under this government,
because you see how much gets taken out of your paychecks and you see your quality of life dwindle away year after year, election cycle after election cycle. I'm supposed to sit here and get real upset that the federal government doesn't have the kind of revenue that it could if they just tax us more and tax wealthy people more. What are you gonna do with the money? Are you gonna actually fight for policies that are gonna improve the lives of Americans? And so far, I have not seen much of that happen. Okay, you wanna tout the infrastructure bill. What was the infrastructure bill? There's a provision in there that privatizes public infrastructure. I'm not excited about that, but I'm supposed to celebrate it? Really? Okay, fine. And then there's the provisions that provides government grants, meaning our taxpayer money, to corporations.
Yep, told you. The whole thing is structured around taking our money and giving it to corporations that are the largest donors of both the Republican and Democratic parties. And what's the mainstream media's role in all this is to pretend that that is not happening. That's why they never ever report, oh, while we're doing the infrastructure bill, how much did construction companies give to Democrats? How much did unions that benefit from construction give to Democrats, right? And when they were passing the giant tax cuts for corporations under Trump, how much did corporations give to Donald Trump? None of that is ever reported, even by the press who hates Trump.
Now, Cenk is still kind of waffling, but Anna, I think, is a little bit more sensible than him because he's still kind of on the I hate Trump train. But she's just like, look, man, all these taxes that we're paying, what's the point of taxing the rich to have more money to spend on the Americans if it's not being spent on the Americans? If it's being spent on the migrants and everybody else, then what's the purpose? Like, what are we doing?
When it comes to rich people and corporations, all of a sudden they can't find any facts that show how bad Trump is. Isn't that amazing? Sheldon Adelson gives him $100 million twice in campaigns, and the press who hates Trump doesn't criticize that. You don't want to know why? Where does $100 million go to? Mainly into TV ads. So TV and media is now invested in that same corruption. So they want to trick you into believing that there's a real food fight going on and people are fighting for your rights. But Anna mentioned it earlier in the show.
No one's fighting for us, period.
What is?
Now, I'm gonna just pause on right here. See, this is where they kind of lose me. See, the thing, me personally, I do not like the federal government. I hate the federal government, actually. I'm more into states. Now, when we're talking about the individual states, that's where you get your rights. That's where you are actually able to get things to help you on the everyday level. The federales, they are too busy trying to impose on our lives with these bills, like the whole TikTok ban bill, talking about, oh, well, this is just to protect us from the Chinese Communist Party. Is it really? Well, why are they talking about banning VPNs in the bill? And if you use a VPN to access TikTok, if it's banned at a certain point, then you might go to the penitentiary to make big rocks, little rocks. How is that going to help me out? How is that going to protect my freedom? How is that going to put more money in my pocket? I'm just trying to figure that out. Maybe you guys can fill me in. So yeah, Anna Kasparian says taxation is theft. I think many of you guys would agree, especially on the federal level. And as I close, I want to say this. I do think we need to have some taxes because you got to have some level of government. But the problem is our tax money gets stolen from us to get spent on nothing, to get wasted, to get put into crack pipes, literally, fentanyl needles, literally. Look, the border's wide open and we kind of facilitating it with our tax dollars. The border agents should be able to do their job, which is to secure the border, but yet they're kind of like a concierge. They're like a valet service for the cartels at this point. So it's like, okay, we're spending our money to do what? And then we're giving the money to all these foreign countries, Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan, the list goes on. And we got homeless veterans and we got these migrants in the hotel, 5-star hotel, right across the street from a homeless veteran. Make this make any sense? That's why I would say taxation is theft on the federal level, because of the way that the money gets used, that we have no choice but to give up. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what's going on here with the taxation kerfuffle? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. Did you agree with Anna? Did you agree with Cenk or one or the other? Whatever your thoughts, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. What she said was right on point. Taxation has become theft on the federal level, especially because of the way that they spend it. That's my thing. I'm going to stick to that until the cows come home, because it's ridiculous. It's totally nuts, totally crazy. And there's no real way to excuse this kind of behavior from the federales. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.